I don't know if it's just me, but I haven't seen anyone grow as a content creator on Twitch in the past few months. It's been about a year and most people are still at the same numbers. I know Twitch has close to no discoverability without massive luck, but I'm also talking about people who have expanded beyond Twitch. I follow a total of 669 channels on Twitch, many of which I've found through raids or collabs, some through Twitter and a handful from a YouTube video. And I always see the same channels at the top of viewership. Now, many of these channels I follow have probably stopped streaming for whatever reason at some point, but even the ones that I followed years ago that still stream, many of them have stayed below 100 viewers, some barely reaching 50 for a long time. It's very rare to see any of these channels rise up to join the ranks of the streamers with several hundred viewers, let alone the ones that average over 1,000 every day. What is the secret for the few channels that manage to grow? Consistency? Luck? Connections? Pandering to a loud audience that will spread their content and present for them? Forcing controversies? Making fake friendships? Play only the popular games? Talk only about popular topics? Have a talent for singing, drawing, voice acting, thus already having a job, or the potential to get one. For many of the channels that I saw grow, their growth kinda stopped around 2024. Some are still on the rise. It's been slower and slower, like they reach a peak. And what I've noticed is that most, if not all of these channels started growing after collabing with bigger streamers regularly. This is not to discredit their work as streamers, because they managed to retain most viewers from those collabs, proving that their content is entertaining for the target audience. But there seems to be a ceiling for growth that is getting lower. Maybe people don't want to watch streams anymore after COVID calmed down. For most people I've seen grow, they were always as entertaining while averaging 10 to 100 viewers, as they are now averaging 1,000 plus viewers, which means it's not that they suddenly learn how to entertain better, but they obtain a spotlight from one or more streamers with larger audiences. And this also means that the reason why the growth stopped at some point may be because those audiences got spread across their channels. They stream as friends and collab often, share the same energy, they just needed each other for discovery and variety of their content. This means that the better strategy to grow as a content creator, besides making good content, what is perceived as good content is kind of subjective, is to network as much as possible and look for streamers with larger audiences. It may be seen as leeching to some, but having a larger audience can also attract new viewers from other places, slowly. Now, this is not a guaranteed way to grow, as I've also seen below 100 viewer Andes collabing with people of larger audiences, yet their numbers never went up, even after a whole year. There's another dangerous topic worth mentioning, which is bots. When I say dangerous, I don't mean to point fingers to anyone in specific, more like it's a situation where specific people cannot be pointed at because it's so behind the scenes that you just need to be in on it to know what's going on. The reason why I'm bringing up bots is, there's two reasons. One is, there are multiple people on Twitch who stream to 1,000 to 5,000 viewers every day, and when you look at their chats, whether it's in slow mode or not, there are several moments where the chat moves at one message per few seconds. Is it really a coincidence that thousands of people simultaneously go quiet? Supposedly, lurkers stop counting if they don't chat for a certain amount of time. How does that work? Nobody is really sure. But even then, I usually only see the same few dozens of names in the chat, which is, if my math is right, a few people short of 1 to 5,000. Unless there's a way to make lurkers count that hasn't been made public for whatever reason. And when I see streamers averaging near or above 1,000 viewers who have the same energy and the same content as streamers who struggle to reach 100, and the chat move at the exact same speed most of the time, I can only wonder why that is. Maybe it's not that deep, maybe it's just paranoia and lurkers do count that we've all been lied to about it. The other reason is sponsors. Now, while I don't know if bot viewers count for ad revenue for the platforms, I've heard that they do count towards sponsor revenue. I've heard that sponsors pay on viewership, which means that a higher viewer count will yield a larger payout from the sponsor, making it in the streamer's best interest to bot their viewership. And this doesn't mean that streamers bot their own channels. At least I would not want to believe that all of them do. But this still doesn't mean that their viewership is not botted, because this can be done to them without their consent. A viewer who quote-unquote wants to support them and has, or doesn't really, the money to consistently vote them every month could artificially inflate their numbers. It really only takes a handful of slightly wealthy and highly deranged people spending around $250 per month to reach 1,000 bot viewers. A company, a sponsor, even Twitch themselves could also invest in botting select streamers without anyone knowing it's them. The main benefit from botting may seem to be sponsorship money, but as I've said before, a larger audience can attract real viewers easier. Especially for lurkers, it's easier to watch people who are constantly talking. Bots have the ability to imitate real chatter, especially when it comes to emojis and simple things like 7TV emotes. Every time people go in the chat, so all it takes is a few real people to create the illusion of a room full of people. Eventually, some lurkers may become active chatters when they feel welcome, slowly growing the pool of real chatter, and also feeding the bot chatters with new things to imitate. When you consider all of the pros from botting, the cons are suspension only if you get caught, and losing your real viewers if they don't want to support you anymore because of the botting, which is not guaranteed to happen. At least not all viewers care that much. But even after saying all of this, what is good content? For some people, it's friends love streams, games, react collabs, room review collabs, etc. Just good vibes. For other people, it's just parasocialism, girlfriend experience, boyfriend experience, unhealthy obsessions, tragic streamers, the underdog charisma, childish hype, tribalism, falling in love with Vtuber avatars, treating self-Vtuber avatars like the most important thing in their life, etc. Maybe it can be a mix of both. If you really think about it, how does an average person become loved by thousands, yet they barely have any close friends IRL? Many within the community would love to be a close friend to them, as dangerous as that sounds. I think this is the moment when streamers start falling to this depressive pit of, am I really worth it? Do I deserve this much support? It doesn't feel real. How is it possible that I can just do this? Is it all gonna end someday? When is that gonna happen? What am I gonna do after? I've seen successful streamers averaging thousands of viewers, pushing out content, songs, concerts, merch, working so hard doing what they love, yet they still fall into this pit without exception at some point. And it's not really that they are not honestly grateful. Sometimes it's more a feeling of disbelief, a feeling of things are going so well, kinda terrifying, like it doesn't feel real. In some cases, it could be a feeling of, I don't really know what I want, but I want something. It's just none of this feels like it really feels that void in my heart. Why? I know it may be weird for me, 1 to 3 viewer Andy, to say all of this stuff, like, what does he know? He hasn't been through any of this, he's just a nobody. But I really like the world of streamers. I've always wanted to play games to an audience, help people relax after a long day. I don't really have any talent, so least I can do is support those that do. I also want to be a streamer, reach the top, shine a light for all those who are lost in the night. My only talent, if I can really call it a talent, and as insignificant as it may be, is to be able to listen to what people have to say. I don't speak much for myself, which is probably the reason I don't have an audience. But I like to be able to host a space for people to relax and not feel alone. Video games have always been my company, my whole world. But since I discovered streamers, I realized that even though I've always played my games in silence, I also play them as if people were watching. I want to be able to share my love for video games with people. I do want to feel real and part of this world, just like anybody else. I don't know if I can make a living out of this. Maybe I could just become an editor for somebody and dedicate most of my time to that. YouTube doesn't really push my content to people, so if you're watching this, to me, that's a whole miracle. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. I hope some of it made sense. I was originally gonna tweet this, but then it became too long and, well, you know how it is with people and reading in 2026. If you have any thoughts, any opinions, any disagreements, or just anything that you want to add to what I've said, leave a comment. I always read the comments on my channel. I don't know if I'll make another video like this since it's not really the kind of content that the channel was made for. It's a clips channel to support other people, but maybe if I can help in any capacity, I'll make another one in the future. Now, I'll stick to my usual content and my usual streams. Hope to see you there. And remember, don't change the song that has already said when you're lost in the middle of the night. Look up at the stars, even if it's cloudy, even if it's raining, even if your eyes are covered by a darkness so thick that you can't even see yourself. The stars are always there on the other side, doing their best to show you the path. Believe in them, believe in yourself, and walk towards the new dawn. Have a nice day.